In this video, I will introduce you to the Matlab desktop environment. This is the place to start if you are brand new to the Matlab program. So I'm going to show you some of the different components of the Matlab desktop, and I will show you how to personalize your desktop environment in terms of setting up the components, where you like them, and also specifying some colors. You are going to be spending a lot of time in Matlab, so it's important to make sure that your Matlab experience is comfortable and also colorful. So when you first open up Matlab, it might look something like this. You see the main Matlab window. You see also the version number here. So I'm currently working with Matlab 2019B. And there's some menu bars here. And then you see a bunch of these widgets, a bunch of these little components here. This one here is called the command window. This is where all of the action happens. This is where you write all of your code. This is where the answers to your code comes out. You can see I also have my Matlab start with a nice friendly message to work hard and have fun. Now, I assume that unless you're working on my computer at my house, in which case, how did you get in here? I assume that you are not going to see a message like this on your Matlab screen. But if you would like a message like this, that's really easy to do. You have to create something called a startup file. I'm not going to show you that here in this video. That's for a topic later on in the course. All right, so this is the command window. Here we have a widget that's called current folder, and you can see it's a bit like a Windows Explorer. So we have different folders here. We can go into different folders and see the different files. You can click on some file here, and if you have this option open here, then you'll see some information about the file. Over here on the right, we have the workspace. The workspace widget will show you all of the variables that you've created in the Matlab buffer. Now, right now it's empty because we haven't created any variables. I can create a variable quickly just to give you a sense of what it looks like. So I'm going to say variable v equals 3, and here we see that v has a value of 3. Now, if you don't really understand what this code is or what a variable is, don't worry, I'm going to get to all of that. This is just to give you a bit of an introduction to these different options here. And here we have the editor window. You are actually going to be spending a lot of your time in Matlab working and typing in this editor window here. This editor window is basically just a text editor. It's really similar to Notepad or Sublime or Atom. The only difference is that it is optimized for Matlab code, but otherwise, it's just random text. You can just type in text here. Okay, this is obviously not real Matlab code. I think I will even delete it. Up here, we have the very important address bar. I am going to be saying many times throughout this course that you need to worry about the address, the folder where Matlab is currently working in, and that you see by looking at this address bar up here. You can move around with different folders using these buttons here. And up here, we have the menu option, and so we have home and plots, apps, editor, and so on. A lot of these things we won't use, some of them we will use. One thing I would like to draw your attention to is first of all, if you don't like having this bar up here, if you think it takes up a lot of space, you can double click and that will hide the menu here. So I double click this again so it stays open. Now these options here, these little small windows here, you can set these by going to layout, and then let's say we don't want to have the current folder. So I'm going to uncheck current folder, and that deleted the current folder. And maybe I'll also get rid of the workspace, because in fact, my preferred Matlab layout looks something like this. I like to have it nice and clean with no additional windows floating around. Now, these windows can be docked or they can be floating. So what you see now is that these windows are docked in the sense that they're all inside this main Matlab window here, this main desktop environment. But I can actually left click and drag and hold it down until we get this outside. And now you can see that this editor is a totally separate window. So now, this can be useful if, for example, if you want to have the command window be really, really large, take up the whole screen. Or, for example, if you have a second monitor, you might want to put this editor in your other monitor, and that gives you more space over here. And some people also just prefer to have some of the windows docked and some of the windows undocked. If you want to redock, you can click on, you see this little arrow over here, this little triangle button over here. I'm going to click on this and say dock all in editor, and that redocks it. Okay, another thing I want to show you is that you can move around the locations of all of these objects. In fact, I think I'll put back on the current workspace just so we have some more things to move around. So now notice that when I click on these different parts of the window, the bar on top turns blue. See, here it's like a light gray, and here it turns blue. Now if you click on this blue bar, and so left click and hold down the button and drag it around, you can see that MATLAB is allowing me to move these options, move these windows elsewhere. So we can have, let's see, I'll put the current folder over here. And then we can also make this one a bit thinner. And so, this might be a nice layout if you would like to see as much of your code as possible in the vertical orientation. Now you can see a lot more lines of code compared to when I had it like this. Now we see fewer lines of code, although if there's long lines of code, we're better able to see the long lines of code. Now all this kind of personalization is very personal, so feel free to take some time, play around, move around these windows, and do whatever you think is best for you. And of course you can change these as you go along. Now there's one more thing that I would like to show you in this video, which is how to set the colors of your MATLAB. Now maybe you are the kind of person who likes everything to be white. In that case, good for you. I have a colorful personality and I really don't like white. In fact, I'm getting a headache for the past 6 minutes looking at this really bright screen. So what do? We click on Home, and then we click on Preferences. And here you have a lot of preferences for the MATLAB workspace. Now, some of these preferences you're going to be changing. Some of them you probably will never change. I will quickly guide you towards, actually, let me first show you the fonts so you can, just to show you that you can change the font type. Although in general for coding, it's best practice to leave a monospaced font. And you can also change the font size. So this is probably a little bit too big, although I actually do increase the font size to be really big when I'm teaching, and this is on a screen, so people in the back of the room need to be able to see this text. On the other hand, it's not good for your eyes to look at really, really tiny font. So if your font is this small and you can barely see it from more than 50 centimeters away, then your eye doctor will be very disappointed with you. So make sure the font is not too huge, but also not too small. Okay, so then I wanted to show you the colors. So we click here on colors, and here you can change all of the different colors for different features in MATLAB. So we can change the background color, the different font colors. I have this checked now to use system colors. I'm going to uncheck this, and these are some color schemes that I like. Now I have spent quite a bit of time changing this color scheme. So if you just uncheck system colors, you're not going to automatically get all of these colors that I specify here. You have to go through these. So you can go through these options and then also click on Programming Tools, and that gives you more options for changing the color scheme of your MATLAB interface. As you go through and get more experience with MATLAB, it is likely that you will want to change the color scheme, or maybe you're in a different mood on Monday compared to Friday, so you want to change the color of the font to reflect the fact that you're really excited about work or really excited about the weekend. Anyway, I will let you deal with that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I introduced you to the MATLAB desktop environment. You are going to get much, much, much more experience working with all of these different components, and you'll have many opportunities to personalize your desktop environment in terms of the locations of the different MATLAB widgets, the little windows, and of course in terms of the colors.